Hello, good afternoon, welcome to Flory Models. Here we are live on Tuesday the 14th of April 2020 after a very mad, although it just feels like any other day, Easter break. So we're trusting everybody is well. Obviously the Florites are all down in there and YouTube is live as well as we make our way around. Joined today by Nathan.
Hello.
Is the flag always up there or is that like we celebrate when St George's Day?
I don't know, it's St George's Day. I can never remember.
Every day St George's Day.
And Mr. Matt is with us as well.
Hello, good afternoon.
We trust everybody had a very nice Easter. You're all keeping safe and well, social distancing and keeping everyone self to themselves, although every day does feel like a Sunday.
It does.
Sunday plus 2 or 3 or 4, doesn't it?
Yes, it's definitely that thing. Look, lots of people up early as well. Hello from Seattle. Hello, Seattle. So yes, well done everybody for joining us as always. Usual thing, very light-hearted, purely because we haven't got a plan. St George's Day is 23rd of April. Oh, we're not that far out then.
Oh, not far off then.
Quick, leave it up.
Down for that.
So yes, very good, excellent job. Well, we trust everybody is doing very well. Up on the site currently with you is, wherever it is, what have I moved it? There it is the next part to the MIG. Sorry I didn't make it up yesterday. YouTube, for some reason their uploader wasn't working. I don't know why. I think everybody's probably uploading. So anyway, I ended up using the old version of it and got that one up. So anyway, this one is talking obviously all about the weathering. So you saw me using it dry. So this time we used it thinned. So that's how we actually did the top of the MiG-23, going through it like that, weathering all of that together. Then we had the handy cam out and I was showing you how to do the acrylic rod, and then we heated it up and melted it and bent it round, showing all about that, and then fixing it to the stand with the MiG going on top. And it was all going very well. And then, hold on, if I've done this right, I can't remember which camera's on me, so we'll just go here. There we go. And now we've installed the pylons. So we've got those on down on here now, and then to be honest, and if I can be clever, I don't even have to move these days. Back there is all the pylons for it, and we've done the weapons. So these have all been painted up now, and they're all ready to be, well, there's photo etch weirdly to go on those, and various other things. And the T28's in there only because I had some leftover paint. So I thought I'd do the tail just to see what colour it looked. And actually it doesn't look that too far out, so quite happy with that one. So that is where we are up to today. So how are we doing, guys? All good?
All right, yeah.
All good, yeah. Yeah, sorry, I'm just writing a message to Trevor on the side. Because he's unfortunately lost a friend to the virus on Sunday morning. Yeah. So, yeah, not good. Not good.
Not good at all, yes.
No.
Sinceres, and keep your loved ones all together. Keep talking to them, that's the thing. So, yes. Very much with that. I must admit, well, a bit of bad news as well on my side as well, because a friend that I've known since I was 3 sadly passed away last night as well. So various things just makes me think funerals and things like that a bit difficult and getting together. So, but you can only do what you can do. So definitely.
Yeah.
Anyway, the guys are saying the cameras look good. Yes, thank you. New cameras. Look, I've set all the white balances and everything now. So if we go like me, look. So this is the normal one, and then we've got close-up cam, which will go a lot closer, but that's the angle I go for. And then we've got the slightly wider one. And then we've got the spray booth. And as always, we've got webcam. So yes, we're running all the cameras today. Cool. So take your pick.
What you painted that tail in?
I just used Hataka. Only because, to be honest, I needed to do the pylons. So I just had the paint left over. So I just did it. So it's the same colour, roughly. But I just wanted to see how it was going to go down and how it was going to look, if it is the right colour. But obviously, well, the colour call out is for it, so it's white with gold grey. So that's it. I think what we do, we'll weather it a little bit, make it a bit more blue. But yes, it should be all right. I think it'll be fine. I'm happy how all my little scribing turned out and everything. So I might actually get some paint on that this afternoon. Be quite nice.
Ooh,
get them all done. Eh? I can do a demo on spraying white.
Just Tiger Moths.
Yes.
it should be all right to have your review sample. I'm going to order some more. Somebody's got some, so should be getting some more coming in.
Oh, good.
And so yes, so it should be all right. So your stuff will be coming tomorrow. I'll be sending it 20 quick, so you should get it for what day we're on, Tuesday, innit? Should go for Thursday, hopefully, all being well. I'll put it on a 24-hour through post office, so yeah.
Yes. Oh, well, that's all right. As I say, as soon as they're in, I'll do some reviews. Because to be honest, I'm bang up to date with reviews. I've got a lot of stuff here, but it's all been done. So I am literally out of review stuff now. I'll start going through history. We can, I don't know, work backwards with moustache, but I think I've reviewed everything over the years. But so yes, I'm literally out of everything at the moment.
Yeah.
So yes, hello from Argentina. Look, it's 6 minutes past 11 there. Crikey. So yes, very good. Sweden, Kansas City. Look, they're absolutely from everywhere. Lake District, very nice as well. I'm happy to report John has made it back to Blighty. He's made it back from the UK, from New Zealand.
Yeah, he's at home.
He's at home now, sleeping and resting his poor bum, apparently. But that's enough how we got the flight.
Hey, that's another story, isn't it?
You in New Zealand.
So yes.
Hey, has my camera been looking 8-bit last few sessions or what?
Just looking a lot better today,
It's
apparently.
looking a lot better today.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Turn the internet up in yours.
I tell you what, actually, I know why it might be. We've had Virgin Media around 2 vans on the estate on our little bit. Because Leslie, we went outside and said, "You're not turning the internet," or Leslie did say, "You're not turning the internet off, are you?" So I don't know if they've done something and cranked it up or what.
Oh,
because we're on 5 now.
You are crystal clear to me today, and you look pretty good on the return loop as well. So yeah.
I wonder if something's on the estate and they've dropped the input output. I don't know, not my thing, but it does seem a lot better today than it has been and a lot quicker. So whether they've tweaked it, I don't know.
Yes.
Good. Anyway.
Well, that's it. So now when you show stuff, you can't hide it. You just have to move it quite quickly so it's still blurry.
Keep it blurry.
Yeah.
Steve says, just doing the 70-second Airfix Vampire. I've done that kit. The kit's going together well. Worried about the metallic finish when he comes to do it. Well, don't forget, they're not metal. It's literally just metallic on that. So just silver. Absolutely. Any silver. Your favourite silver will work an absolute treat on that.
Fuselage is made of wood on that.
Guess what else is coming today as well, if I remember, because I think somebody's asking. The Buccaneer. We've got some Buccaneers back.
Buccaneers back in stock as well.
Well, not many.
Yes.
Few.
3. But yes.
Anyway.
I didn't know that. I must admit, I didn't realise the Vampire's made of wood.
That's why they're all different lengths when they got measured. They're all a little bit different. It depends who made them.
Well, they're warped.
Not sure about the wings, but the fuselage sort of is it's because it's de Havilland, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
It's probably designed at the end of the war, even during it, I suspect. So, yeah, made of wood. Not sure about the wings. I think they're probably metal.
I think they fingered it off the Mozzie, didn't they? Kind of carried on the lineage of wooden aircraft with the Mozzie. So,
mind you, when you've got a jet engine strapped inside it, you probably want a little bit more than wood. Starts like coming off its mounts. Especially when you're sat in front of it. You've got an engine right behind you. You're sat there. Yeah, there you go. Pioneering times. That was what it was. Proper seat of the pants stuff. That. So, yes. Very good. Peter's just starting his Steve McQueen Porsche 917 in the Le Mans. Very nice indeed. Looks like Bill's doing water cooling. No, not quite. Mine's solid. I prefer the solid one. If you use the hollow one, I tried to bend it once, didn't end well. But if you use the solid one, it comes really nice. It's crystal clear. So you don't get any sort of cracking or bubbles or anything else in it. It's really straightforward. Very easy to do. Apparently the wings are metal. The fuselage is plywood.
There we go.
Because Things That Fly is helping to restore one. So, there we go.
Know it intimately then.
We got one. Neville says, "Hi guys, respirators broke the other day. Age I guess. Bad time for this happening. Any ideas where I can get a replacement? Amazon only has the cheap Chinese knockoffs and B&Q are out of stock." Pass.
Yeah, that's going to be a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not being funny. Yeah, it's just about the wrong time for it to go. Mine are due for a replacement of my filters, I think. I tend to be doing them every month. I've been very good. So I think we're due for replacement filters soon. So,
yeah, mine is. Nath, is the 32nd Eurofighter coming back out?
I've not heard anything about it.
No, I've not either. So
I know it was one of those kits that were. There'll be loads of them on the second-hand market.
Yeah, because it weren't out that long ago, was it? Was it in a German scheme or something?
Yeah, it had they had a special tail one out not so long ago. But I've not heard anything about that. They've only just re-released the 48 one from that Red Baron, so I can't see the 32 one. Maybe another year or two.
Yeah, they'll find something. Can't say the 48th one. We've just had it in the Baron. What was it again?
The Baron Spirit, I think it's
Baron
called.
Spirit. Yeah, because that's just coming on a delivery today. So, yeah. Okay.
yeah, I must admit, I did like the 32nd one. Nice kit. It's a lot better than the Hasegawa Trumpeter one, because Trumpeter one's awful. Not to mention it's completely wrong, because it's actually the prototype. It's got the Tornado engines in it.
Is it?
Yeah, so if you want to make a prototype version with the Tornado engines in it, then that's the one you want to do. So, but yeah, and also it's got riveted wings for some reason. I don't even think the prototype had riveted wings, but
No.
so yeah.
Hey, apparently the vampire was originally called the Spider Crab.
And
they
you
haven't
roll off
changed
the
the name.
tongue.
Yeah,
Oh,
interesting.
that's a horrible name for an aeroplane.
And design of the vampire started in 1941,
Oh, there you go.
according to Nigel. So yeah, cool.
Here's a good one. Dino says, how would you strip milliput from a 1/35 scale Tiger?
With a grinder.
Jesus, yeah, got a breaker. Because that's going to be properly on there.
That stuff's like as hard as nails, isn't it?
Really,
yeah,
honestly, yeah, joking aside, I would try and chip it off as much as possible and then sand what's left.
I mean, I think you can fix leaking boats with that stuff.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah, being a two-part as it is, once it's dry, that's it. It's just concrete, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not going to rehydrate and come off. That's properly it.
No, well, I wasn't joking when I said a sander. You
Yeah.
probably need a mini sanding disc or something to get it off, because it's like rock hard.
That or dynamite will shift it.
Yeah, dynamite, yeah. But just answer this one to just
Yeah.
David. He's just on about he's received his order, so, and he's happy and everything. So, thank you for letting us know. That's good. Like I say, I've had things where some's took a week, some's took a few days to get there. It is what it is with the post at the minute.
Yeah.
Some are quicker than others, so if there's a problem, I'll let you know.
Apparently, our local sorting office is closed today because it's having a deep clean.
They do on Wednesdays. I thought it was Wednesdays. They show.
Oh well, they just had one saying that our one today is apparently having a deep clean. So.
Oh right, is it today? Yeah.
Perhaps there was something in it.
I think they're doing it once a week. I think.
Yeah. I did hear that Wednesdays they were doing a limited service. Perhaps they weren't doing sorting offices on a Wednesday or something in some areas. Yeah. But I know my local one, apparently, because I spoke to our postmistress today, she said my stuff should go out fine. It was just that, obviously I suppose it's first day back for them, but it's not actually going. So there may be a delay slightly in it. But to be honest, the tracking's been coming through in the last half hour. So I'm assuming they're all going through and everything. So
I've took a big batch. Krista's got a question.
Mm-hmm.
Did Spitfires have any? Oh God, I can't even say it. Did Spitfires have any undercoat, and was the frame in aluminium? We'll try to do some chipping. I think he wants to chip it. So
they did have an undercoat because it was a greeny colour, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, I think that. I seem to remember years ago seeing one in restoration. They sprayed the green throughout the whole of the inside of the fuselage, right down to the tail wheel.
Yeah.
It'd be like XF4, that sort of. Because they both must have had a primer on, or the paint would have just fell off the.
Yeah.
Fell off the.
I don't think it's a yellow. I think the RAF ones they didn't use the sort of yellow chromatey colour though, did they? I think they used the green one.
Cockpit, that interior cockpit green.
Yeah.
Yeah. And somebody's asking about what would you paint? Where's that gone?
Well,
Browning machine guns.
I like using dark iron and then just buff them up.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying it on chat, to be honest. Dark iron, buffables and all that lot. And then, or blacken a gunmetal dry brush.
Yeah.
Because he was saying, he says gunmetal looks wrong, because technically they would have been black, wouldn't they?
Yeah. That's why I tend to use the dark iron trick, because if you don't brush it, it's just black. But where you buff it on the highlights, and it's, you know, it naturally is dry brushing it to a metal as it would catch. But technically, yeah, they would be black. But again, for scale effect, I think it looks nice.
Yeah. I just answered it. Yeah, you've ordered. I've just been on back orders, Adrian, so they're going to be sent as well. I've got it. I think I've had an order in today of Attacker, so they'll be coming out this week to you. And then, Mark, apologies if this was answered yesterday. What can microscale decal film be thinned with to spray it on instead of brushing it on? He asked yesterday, but obviously it must have flicked over. So I don't know if you can. I've never used it. So
I've never tried to spray it. I've just brushed it.
Yeah, it kind of self-levels.
Yeah.
Brush marks do sort of fade away.
Yeah, I must admit, I can't comment because I must admit I've literally only used it about 2 or 3 times and I've always brushed it on.
Yeah.
I've just got one here. Simon says, I've just started using Tamiya paints and spraying X18 semi-gloss black at about 15 psi thinned with X20A. The results are very rough surface. What we're doing wrong? This is actually probably the most asked question I get. I seem to answer it every day. Okay, rough texture. It's drying on the way to your model. That's the trouble. So there's 2 things you can do to negate that problem. One is move a lot closer to it so it's wet when it hits the surface. And secondly, turn down your air pressure. So in other words, you've got to thin it. Okay, so you're going to thin it a lot more. Also, when you're putting it on the model, and I might show you in a bit because I'm going to paint this thing. Okay, you want it to go on wet. Because if you're spraying it on and it's hitting the surface, it's almost like pebble dashing. So it's building up and you're getting texture. You want it to go on so it's wet and looking wet on the surface. And I think one of the biggest things people have when they start airbrushing is thinking they're going to get runs and stuff. But as long as you've got your paint mix right and everything, it won't run. It will just stick and go. And we're saying a primer helps because it helps grip it as well, stops it running off down your model. But a lot of that is probably distance. You want to be literally a couple of inches, if that, from your model. You don't want to be, you know, a foot away spraying, because all you're doing is putting down a dusty coat right the way over it. You want it to be wet so it's got time to melt into itself, eat into itself, and then level out, and you'll get a smooth paint. And even if it's a flat coat, it should still be like a nice smooth finish. You don't want any rough and texture into it. The only trouble you can get is a 90 degrees on like wings, like in this area here, because it gets what I call a vortex ring. So when you're blowing with your airbrush, it's coming up and then it gets caught in with the airflow going down and it's doing this. And what happens is the particles are dry and then they stick to it and it goes rough as hell. And that's why sometimes you get a little bit of rough texture in here. And if that happens, you've got a couple of options. One, just take a very fine sander and give it a quick polish and then wipe it away, get rid of the dust. Or the other thing as well, just give it a coat of neat thinners right over the top and it'll eat into it and get rid of it that way.
Cool. I've got a thing here from Gary. He's asking about the RFM Sherman with interior.
Yeah.
I think he's asking when it's out and will we have it? Well, I've got no idea when it's going to be out or released, if I'm honest, but we will be stocking it, yeah. We will have them in, but I've got no date. So we're still waiting for the Charlie to come in, so
yeah.
I don't know, it could be back end of this year. It depends really on Ryfield Models catching up with themselves, I suppose. When we know, you'll know, because it'll probably be up on a pre-order. So yeah.
2 questions from Lawrence. He's saying, guys, 2 questions. How did you all meet? Via the site, literally.
Yeah.
Literally just on the Flory Models, on the forum, chatting and everything. And then we all got close. Then the barbecues.
Yeah.
When we used to do the summer barbecues, the guys used to come down for it, and as I say, various things like that. Really, it just sort of grew from there.
Shows.
Telford. Yeah, that's it. And doing Telford and that. The guys used to help out, to be honest, with Telford when it was just me. And it literally went from there, snowballed from there. Really, many years ago.
It did. Yeah, it just progressed naturally.
It did.
Yeah.
I always think it's quite funny because when you guys put up pictures of the kids, because obviously they were very small when we all met, and Nathan's case wasn't even around. And now they're up mobile and all the rest of it makes you feel old. Because Lydia was tiny at the time.
You weren't around. Lydia, we didn't have Lydia then.
No, that's it. I think, that's right. Because I remember Leslie didn't come to Telford.
That was the first time we had the Barbie when we stopped in the shack up in the on the moor.
Yeah.
Leslie, we'd either just Leslie either just given birth, which I think she was only a few months old. So she didn't come down because of the travelling and stuff. But and she's 6 now, so that shows it,
doesn't it? I know. Right, part 2 of the question. If you were able to drop question 2. If you were able to drop everything you have and pick your I want to build it now, which would it be? I assume you mean kit. Which kit? So if you could build any kit, stop doing whatever you're doing and just build a kit, what would it be?
Bucket list kit, isn't it?
Yeah.
An odd one for me would probably, I don't have one in the stash, but I've always wanted to build a Tamiya F16 in 32 scale.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably do one of the Tamiya F16s if I had one at the time.
Yeah.
God, I ain't got a bucket list kit.
You know?
No, I can't think of one. If I have got one, but I can't think of anything. It's weird because now, like, obviously I'm part owner in a model shop with Phil.
Yeah, I say that to people as well.
Though, because stuff's in and out, and it's like, I'd love to build that, and I'd love to build that, and then it's different. You've got a different mindset when you're sort of business with it, isn't it? Really, rather than just being a hobby.
Yeah.
You know, even though it still is to a point, but
because I call it our extended stash. Because people say to me about your stash, and it's like, well, I have 2. I have what's out in front of me, and then I say I'm part owner in a model shop, so everything that's in there as well. So and you say, like Matt says, we get things come in, and you're like, oh, that's nice. And like when we're doing the ordering, it's like, because we're still modelers, so we're like, that's nice, we'll have that. Yeah. Doesn't matter if anyone buys it, but we like it, so we're going to have it.
Yeah, well, that's it. You still get that sort of knee-jerk reaction of something, and we'll buy that, and you've got to be a bit careful. Hold on, I'm just getting a phone call from Leslie about something. I'm going to have to mute you. Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. It must be important.
A word from our accountant. But yeah, I think it's a very difficult one. It is because, as I say, when I go to the unit and I walk around, obviously I usually, before I leave, I'll go right the way around the unit and I'll grab kits to bring back to do reviews with. And that could be twofold. It could be stuff that I think you guys would be into and stuff I quite fancy doing as well.
Right.
So then I'll bring them all back and away you go. So
can I just interrupt? I've got a delivery. I've got to go and sort it. I'll be back in a moment.
All right, okay. So I think that's the extended thing. To be honest with you, I've literally just finished doing my bucket list model because that was always to do the Bandai Master Grade or Perfect Grade Millennium Falcon, and I've just done it. And you think that kit, I had that kit sat in Japan for 18 months, waiting to ship it here, and then we got them in through PM as well. So I offloaded my one I had in Japan waiting for me, and then obviously built that one. So that would have been literally right up to last month, would have been the kit I would have grabbed, would have been the Bandai Millennium Falcon. So bit tricky on that one. If I had to do one right now, it would probably either be the 32nd F-18 Hornet, the C, or the A through to C, the Legacy Hornet, or say that's really difficult because I've got so many I would literally love to do. It would probably be oh god, that's so hard really.
Somebody's saying that HPH Catalina, because I thought you liked that kit. And sorry,
yeah, I did, but it's too big.
Well, I know, but it's a bucket list. It don't mean you're going to do it.
Yeah.
By the way, that one for us, is a massive delivery van outside our house, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to number 1, which is at the other end, and he's got a little envelope like this, and he's in one of the big Luton backs.
Oh, great.
So, I don't know.
But yes, I don't know. Go on, Nate, what would you do?
I'm going to stick with my. I've got up there a Tamiya 32 scale Mustang, but I think you want to do a kit you're going to really, really enjoy, don't you? I mean, we're in the perfect situation now to do it, aren't we? Because we're stuck in for at least another 3 weeks.
Yeah.
According to the press. So, I'd probably, if you ask me this same question any other day of the week, I'll probably keep changing my answer. But I'm going to stick with the Tamiya F16 or the P51D.
And can I just say, no, it's not the Bison. It's not a bucket list. It's a bin list. So no. However much you badger, mate, I'm not building it. I'm trying to offload it. There's a couple of questions on here before they go. Player mod. Oh, God's sake! Stop flicking. Stop typing. Right, well, it's from David. This is Vallejo model colour paints are very thick in consistency, and shaking them seems to do nothing. If this flicks again, seriously, I'm going to put my fist through the screen. It's so annoying.
It's really hard, isn't it? I'm on a tiny screen.
If you click it with your mouse and hold the scroll bar with your mouse, it'll stop it moving.
All right.
I can only see 4 at a time.
Oh, wait, let me finish this question before it goes. If it's even is it necessary to even shake these paints to be sure they mix well? Yes, it is, because everything the pigments all settle to the bottom, even though they are super thick. And then Adrian's just put, chaps just ordered a ICM P51C and an ICM Spitfire Mark 9. Never built ICM before. Anything I should look out for? They're early ICM, so you've got to be a bit careful with them, I think. I've never built them. They're very detailed, but I don't know what they get together like. So
you do have to watch it with ICM, because early ICM is a bit. It's not like modern ICM, because I had somebody the other day saying, "Oh, I built an ICM kit and it was terrible," but it was the old ones. Their new stuff is not like their old stuff.
Yeah.
They had a bit of an epiphany at one point. They employed a couple of people who really took them to where they are now. So the new stuff's very nice. The old stuff can be a little bit hit and miss.
Yeah. Just with the going back to the Vallejo model colour paints, best thing to use or to make is a wet palette. Use a wet palette with them, thin them with water, and they will brush paint lovely. So, somebody's asking about a 172nd BK 117, which is a Messerschmitt somewhere over in it, like a 10. Revell do one. Do Revell do one? Matchbox used to do one. I remember it in yellow. And I don't know, but I'd check A model might do one as well.
Yeah.
So I think we're up to date on ours because it's just flicking like mad.
Right, a couple in here. There's only manufacturers that make an accurate or reliable World War II RLM British aeroplane colours. I'm drowning in a sea of paint. Apart from AK, none seem to be accurate. What about AK? At the end of the day, shall I try and put this to bed?
Try.
I'll try, okay? Because people often talk about paint colours, and obviously you guys, I take it, aren't members, because you'll know my theory on this. But really, you know, there's 2 strains of thought with this. German colours in World War II, especially late colours, were notoriously out of sync because they had no paint. So a lot of it was being chopped together, as was Kurd and all the rest of it. The other thing as well is that my granddad, he was a painter in the for various bombers, shall we say, not going into too many details, of World War II aircraft. And when I spoke to him before he died about it, he was telling me how they did it and all the rest of it, and how the paint deliveries were a little bit hit and miss during the war. So they used to, basically, his family, we call it fudging. So they would add a bit of something in, just roughly if it's in the ballpark, to make up the quota, because the bombers are coming down the line. They had to be painted and out the door. There is no stopping it. It's like a car factory. So whatever works, even if that meant, you know, 10 minutes later the paint was in, it wouldn't matter. So you've got that train of thought to it as well. My other train of thought with it as well is that technically this here is light gull grey, which looks nothing like light gull grey because I've weathered it now, so it goes darker and stuff like that. So what I tend to do is lighten my paint a little bit before I go in with weathering, because I know I'm going to darken it. Then the other train of thought is that all aircraft in the real world weather at different rates and various things. So the bit where people turn around and say, I need it to be an accurate colour, Who says? Because there's so many different variables into all of this that makes it accurate to do it. Unless you're doing a factory fresh aircraft that's just come off the line, colour makes no odds whatsoever. You know, because as I say, washes, filters, oil weathering, things like that will always change your colours, just as it would as if it was operational. You know, obviously if it's out in the sun, it's going to bleach. If it's in, you know, a wet environment, it's going to be muddy, you're going to get corrosion, various things sticking to it. It's going to get dirty and gnarly. Look at naval aircraft and how quickly they weather down. So at the end of the day, I always say, as long as you're in the right ballpark to start with, the rest of it is immaterial. So when you get people coming up to you and they're saying, oh, that, and I've got a paint chip from this and all the rest of it, it's a case of, it doesn't make any difference, because that paint chip, who's to say that paint chip's correct? You know, how, you know, when that was painted and all the rest of it, we don't know. So in some ways, I always say, as long as you've got roughly in the right thing, and then with your weathering and goes through, and then if you really want to get fanatic with it, I've got two monitors sat right in front of me. If I get a photo and put it over half of each monitor, they're both different colours. So again, it's how the photo was taken in the first place. You know, how accurate was that done? We had one recently and it looked like it was a colour photo. It wasn't. It was a recolor digital afterwards. So it's not even the right thing anyway. So by saying that's the colour, again, it's up to the digital, you know, company who's recolored the photos, how accurate they are to it as well. So there's all these different variables. So literally, I always say, if it looks right to you, stick with it and just go. You know, if that means you just want to change the colour a little bit, then fair enough, then you can just do that one to make it happy. But most manufacturers are roughly in the ballpark. And yes, we know we've had this thing with RLM 83. Is it blue? Is it green? Again, you know, it's one of those things. It's late war, so it could be, it couldn't be. Who knows with these things? But there's so many variables to it that if anybody turns around to you and says it's the wrong colour, then I'll just tune out. You know? Bit extreme, but
I know, but you know.
But it is, you know, literally, companies like the paint companies spend a lot of time trying to get. They don't just sit there and go, that'll do, you know. So most of these ones that we have in here have had a lot of research done into them to make them right. But the trouble is, though, is again, it's one of those things. When you'll get different manufacturers, they're not all going to have exactly the same shade, because it's very difficult in a manufacturing process to get exactly the right shade to it and all things like that. It's just one of those little variables in. It depends on pigments, in mediums and thinners, how thick it's painted on, various things. Like if you're spraying over black, you'll get a different colour underneath. If you put white down, you'll get a different colour as well. There's all these different variables, and I really think people spend far too much time worrying about what colour it is rather than getting on with painting it.
That's right.
You know, there's more important things to worry about. Trust me.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Phil's mini rant for the day.
That's it. And I'm not even starting on it.
Well, that's it. I daren't let Matt loose. He's like a terrier. He won't let go. I've just saved you all from Matt having to go at this.
I am sitting here biting my lip.
I know.
I'm in the zen. Right, we've got a few on ours quick before they go again. Somebody yesterday's show was asking about Sterling Moss's car. Revel Germany did a 124th Mercedes 300 SLR in 1992, which is RG7204 part number. And it was also boxed by Monogram. So there is a kit out there. They did do it in the classics, I remember it now. Adrian's put, so what is an old ICM kit? Scale mate. Have a look.
Yeah.
It's, when would you say they've become past 4 or 5 years, would you say?
Yeah, I would say more 4. Last 4 years, they've really turned it round.
Yeah, they've employed some good people.
Yeah, they've got some people from another company and they really know what they're doing, so yeah.
They've turned them around. Leighton's got a question. Hi everyone, can you tell me which is the mask oil to use? I've tried Mr. Hobby Neo and had a lot of trouble getting it back off. I use acrylic. I've never had any joy with the blooming stuff. It's just a pain in the arse.
Yeah, the Neo one, if you like, is just the general one. If you go with the Mr. Masking Soul, it's the one that doesn't shrink. So when you cut it, it doesn't shrink back, pull back on itself. So you can just leave it. That's the best out of the bunch, I find. And that's my daily one for it. Although we have been playing recently with the Molotov masking pen. And to be honest, we did it to Buster 2, wherever it's gone. Hold on, let me grab it. which we did live on one of the Thursday night shows, and we were playing with it like that just to see how it would work, and it did work quite well. It seemed to go through. It's very, very thin though, and stuff. So yeah, it's one of those things with it, but I tend to just mask normally, and away you go. There we go. Or there's that stuff as well.
The Aptalung 502 liquid mask is okay.
Yes.
It's latex based, so it comes off easy enough.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything. It doesn't say you can't use it with acrylic, so I quite like that one.
Hmm.
And available at PM, where I bought mine.
Yeah.
There's a few out there, though. There's a few out there, and I think they're all sort of the same sort of thing. Like I say, I know what my trouble is, why I don't get on with it, because I leave it on too long. That's my old problem with using Mastol or that sort of stuff. I leave it on too long instead of putting it on, painting what I'm doing, taking it off, and then replacing it with fresh one every time I'm doing something. I'm bone idle, and I leave it on, and then it welds itself on, and then it just frustrates me. So it's more user error on my part than probably the product.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, masking tape.
Yes, I must admit, I tend to use masking tape for most of my stuff. Tape.
So, somebody else has asked a question as well. Oh no, I'm not going on a rant. I'm not going off on one this afternoon. I'm good. It'd need to be a after watershed rant.
Yes.
Yeah.
The 9 o'clock show, the adult show, we'll just let rip.
There would be some colourful language.
Plus the fact we're live on YouTube and we tend to keep the proper rants off of public servers, shall we say?
Yeah.
Mind you always get some goody goes and tells the world about it anyway and sticks it all out over the net. So I always get in trouble. Anyway, Gordon says, have the price of new kits release now got to a ridiculous stage as it's causing a greater interest in second-hand and old kit markets? There's definitely a bit of a thing with second-hand kits. There always has been, I think. You know, because people trade and move along and stuff like that. Again, you know, for years, I think kits have been underpriced, shall we say. The importers taking less and less cuts because, you know, but then governments are greedy with tax and import duties and things like that, and now it's beginning to catch up, and the price of kits have gone up a lot, especially we've seen the Far East kits, Japanese kits, especially Tamiya. Hasegawa's of this world and all the rest of it seem to have gone through the roof recently. But unfortunately, that's just sign of the times, I think. You know.
The exchange rates, that one though. Yeah,
the exchange rates
for a long time, haven't
they? Yeah. Just before this one goes, Darren's asked the best Honda Type R kit. He works for Honda Swindon and making this car and would love a kit for a future build. Oh God. Try and looking for Aoshima. They do Honda kits. Fujimi might do some Honda kits, and definitely I don't know if Tamiya do Honda kits, to be honest. You're going to be looking at one of the Japanese car manufacturers, so I think if you probably Google it, somebody will come up. But I'm probably thinking it might be Aoshima.
Yeah.
To guess.
Yes. Phil, what filter material would you recommend for my bench vent spray booth? Factory filters are way too expensive. I can't possibly say. Yes, they are very expensive, but the thing is, I get in trouble every time I mention about doing this because I get people, again, this is where I leave my rant mode on. To be honest, I don't. I just use this, which you can buy a roll, and I'm still chomping my way through it. It's just filter material that you use for the spray industry, for car booth spraying and stuff like that. I bought it, a 2 metre wide roll by 50 metres, whatever it is, and I've had mine donkey's years now, and I'm still chomping my way through it, and this lot have it off me as well. And well, apart from Andy, who clearly never uses his filter. But the rest of them have been chomping their way through it, and I've still got probably half a roll left. If you look on eBay or anywhere like that and just put in there, what's the technical name for it, Matt?
It's just spray booth filters.
Yeah, spray booth filter, and you buy it on a roll. So
yeah, you can buy in a massive roll. It will last you a blooming lifetime. You can, because that's all it is. It's proper industrial spray booth filters, just cut down to, you know, fit fit the bench vent. So
I have done a video all about how to do it, because all this is bench vent filters modified to take these ones. You know, and you just do it like that. It's just very cheap, quick way of doing it, and change out your filter all the time. Bench vent will tell you though, if you do that, it will null and void your warranty. So before you send it back, change it out for the old filter. Keep your old filter and pop it back in. So, but yes, they do seem to be incredibly expensive for what they are. A bit of cardboard and mesh with a filter in it. So,
I just answer this one from Neil. It's just this hypothetical question about wingnut wings. We've kind of decided we're not going to go down this road at all now until we know what's happening.
Yeah.
So it's not we're ignoring the question. We don't want to get involved with it.
No.
No, until we know more about it. So we're just going to leave it at that. So
it is, because the thing is, there's just so much stuff going around at the moment. You just don't know what to believe. So like we said, as soon as we get an official announcement, we'll even do a whole program about it if you want. But
but
until we get an official one, I think we'll just leave it where it is, because we speak about it on every show, but we don't want to be party to scaremongering, put it like that.
No, definitely not. And then somebody's asked about the Zrevsta JU88. It's been discontinued as far as I know. The ones we had were the last in stock from Hobby Co. So unless it's going to be released in a few years, that was it from us. We don't think we've got any more. I think we're all gone. So,
That 72 scale.
Yeah, the little one, the good one. It's quite a good kit actually.
The Revell ones.
Sorry,
the Revell ones. I'll have to do. I think it's a decent kit.
Yeah. Yeah, the Revell one into back kit actually. If that's
I've been asked about Italy Tornadoes by Gary.
Yeah.
The 48th one is okay, in the fullest meaning of the word okay. It's a generation behind the Revell one, you can tell. It's got nothing like the amount of surface detail. The 72 ones, in the F3 is okay, but the GR IDS I'd leave them alone. Get the Revell ones.
And also, Glenn's put up, hi guys, as someone returning to the hobby, that's just flipped up on me again, hold on. God. Nathan, read that out because it's just clicking.
See if I can find it. Where's it gone?
Yeah, oh God, no, I've got it, I had it then and it's gone, sorry about this. Right.
What paint line to go down?
Yeah, what paint line, yeah. Well, I'll let Phil answer this one.
Me?
Yeah, go on.
I take it, what, any type of paint?
Well, he's just returned to the hobby and he's scratching his head on what paint line to go down. So he's obviously a newbie. So
again, it sounds biased, but I can honestly say, hand on my heart, that the reason we stock Hataka is because we liked it before we stocked it. That was the whole point. That's why we wanted to stock Hataka lacquer paints, because I like them, Matt likes them, everybody who's ever used them likes them, and they only did sets. So when we spoke to the manufacturer, our deal breaker for them was we only want them as individuals though, because we don't want to do sets, because nobody wants to buy sets of stuff. So that's why we like Hatakas and the reason we sell it. So it's a bit like Victor Cayenne. We sell it because we use it, isn't it? At the end of the day, I do like it. So Hataka paint's really nice. It's a lacquer paint, goes down beautifully. You can use it with self-leveling thinners. It's like the dream combination for it. It just works for me every time. That said, Tamiya lacquers, really, really nice. It depends. If you want to go down the acrylic route, then obviously you've got other options. Tamiya paints are obviously fantastic to start out with as well. You know, after that, you've got your things like your Model Airs, you know, your model color paints and everybody else's that fall into line after it. But for ease of use, I think if you're learning to airbrush, lacquer paints are easier to use than acrylics. Purely because you don't get your tip dry or any flow problems or stopping and starting. They just work, you know, and that's the great thing about them. But I understand a lot of people have a lot of reservations about it because lacquers are more smelly than acrylics, and obviously they're more flammable than acrylics, although they're not really. And obviously there's the health issue, which again doesn't make any difference because they're both bad for you in the first place. So, you know, that's it. But honestly now, if people were said to me, look, I'm planning on starting, I would start with lacquers because it's a lot easier. Acrylics tend to be very much stop-starty and all the rest of it. But if you go and look at any of my videos, which are all free to watch, the tutorial ones, the live series we did, all of those ones on airbrushing, you'll notice they are all with acrylics because when I did them all, I just used to use acrylics, never used lacquers at all. But recently, over the last 3 years now, I've switched everything apart from traditionals, and they're mainly for hand painting, over to doing lacquers now. So it's one of those, I just like them. They just work for me. They work really, really well. It's almost bulletproof stuff. So, you know, you've got all the tick boxes. It paints beautifully. It doesn't stop and start and all the rest of it. Your airbrush doesn't never clog up at all. Even if you left it in there to dry for weeks, it still seems to work okay. You know, you've got all the things that go, you can thin it to whatever ratio you want. So if you want to make it a little bit thicker, I find it more forgiving. It dries quicker. There's just a lot more pluses to the negatives about using lacquer paints. That's the only thing. But it's a personal thing, you know. Again, it's like airbrushes, you know. You ask 10 people, you'll get 10 different answers. That's the thing to it.
Yeah. Hello, David in the Philippines. How are you?
Getting better weather than us by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Gordon Graham's asked what you can do to recover any old decals. They've gone really, really yellow. The guys have already said in the forum, put it in the sunshine.
Yeah.
Bin 'em.
Bin them.
Bin 'em, I would
the
say.
price
But
after
ultraviolet
market.
light will bleach them, because all it's doing is bleaching it.
Yeah.
Can I
And if
just
it's cracked, you can use microscale decal film. Don't
Hold
mix it. That kind of painted over the top might rescue it, but I think the best advice is
Get replacement decals.
Right, hold on a minute. Let's put it into perspective. He paid 42 pence for it.
yeah.
There you go. That answers
Buy
everything.
aftermarket decals.
Yeah. Spend a fiver and get aftermarket, yeah.
And Trevor's asked him what aftermarket's available for the Revell, or what aftermarket would I recommend for the Revell Tornado. I only ever use a pitot probe from Master and some resin ejector seats. I know that Edard do photo etch, but sometimes the colour's a bit funny, and then there's resin engines that might be worth getting. But I think this kit stands up quite well without aftermarket. The where I would spend money on a Tornado aftermarket is weapons. Because the kit doesn't have weapons.
Yes.
But I mean, I tend to build Tornadoes as quickly as I can, a bit almost like commission mode, just trying to get the number of them built in a short space of time. But I mean, the resin is probably better than the photo etch, generally speaking, because I think the colours are just weird on Edard stuff. I think someone put a post up a week or two ago, whether it was a Tornado, I'm not sure. They had two of the same Edard cockpit sets, and the shades of grey were different.
Yeah.
That's my thought on that. But the pitot probes are an absolute essential, I think, for this kit.
Do anyone do a brimstone step for it?
Yeah, I think Freight Dog.
All right. I was going to say, because I've never seen anyone do it. So
I might be wrong, but I think Edard had them in at one point. The Eurofighter kit's quite good for weapons, actually.
yeah.
If you do a Eurofighter in air-to-air weapon load, just missiles, you're left with a lot of ground attack munitions in that kit, so that's quite a good one to do.
Because that comes with JSOW and all stuff like that as well, isn't it?
All
So,
sorts,
yeah.
loads and loads of weapons can come. But I think this is genuinely one of those kits where aftermarket costs you a lot but doesn't add a great deal.
Yeah.
I think the cockpit out of the box is nice. The only benefit of getting a resin engine is it's seamless. I've seen someone release seamless intakes, but
You can't see them.
that there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sounding a bit tight, aren't I? But between seats and a pitot probe, I think you're probably going to be all right.
Again, you could go down this road of aftermarket for aftermarket's sake, aren't you?
Yeah.
And I think we've been over this a few times. It's like I think you can pick and choose what you buy to perhaps enhance it, but some of it you've got to think, if it's on its wheels, you ain't going to see underneath, so why bother with like wheel wells and stuff? I don't know.
There's
It's just
plenty
my
of
opinion, but like seats are a definite, I reckon, because
Yeah.
you could see the seats. But when you're doing like cockpits and stuff, modern jets, and you don't really see a lot in them anyway.
No.
So you just can be doing it for the sake of doing it, really. And It's personal preference, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. That's the thing.
Which
you go
is-
as far, like we say, with all kits. The great thing about this hobby is you can build something straight out of the box and
Yeah.
have a really good model out of it, or you can throw an absolute ton of aftermarket at it. You know,
Yeah.
and most of it you won't see anyway. So, you know, but we will do it. Like I've thrown, say, probably the biggest one for aftermarket thrown at was probably the Mosquito, because that had bloody 70 quid's worth of resin engines in it. It had cockpit, gun bays, bomb bays, you name it, it had everything out. You don't see any of it. Not that any more than the kit would be, you know, but you know it's there and it's nice to do it. But yes.
Sorry guys, can I just answer a question on here? Because there's some saying about lack of paints and brush painting. You can brush paint sort of lack of paints, you've just got to add a retarder.
Yeah.
But it can be brushed. I have actually brushed a tacker before, not in big amounts, admittedly, but it can be brushed with some, the Tamiya lacquer retarders, brilliant, absolute spot on. So, yeah, it can be brush painted. So, yeah.
It tends to attack the underlying paint surface, though, doesn't it? So you can't move it around as much
You've got to, you've got to be careful. So, yeah.
Phil says, hi guys, spraying the Nakajima Kate. Sprayed the red circles, chipped all of these colours, but how would you weather the rest of the decals, mainly the grey walkway on the wings? To be honest, I would go in with a wash straight away over everything anyway, and then in with oils, which you can see on this fantastic screenshot here. Where are we? We want web. Which is what I did on this one. So you got the same thing. So I did it live on one of the shows here last week, but literally just put them in. So it's oils, and then you'll go right over the decals. Like I went right over the wings, right over the tail and everything on that particular one. But it's just the same technique as we did in here to go through and put them in. So you just don't take any notice of the decal. So if you've got a panel line going through it, you want to weather that panel line right the way through the decal exactly the same. Unless you're, you know, assuming that perhaps the marking has been put on recently, and then obviously it won't be as weathered as the rest of it. But assuming that the markings went down and it's weathering naturally, then it will just be as weathered as anywhere else. So walkways get the same treatment. So when I'm weathering like this, I'll forget there's even a decal there. It doesn't matter, because I'll just go straight over the top. If there's a panel line going through, I will then go right the way through with the wash, then over it with, you know, you can see down in here, using oils and things like that. That way all of your weathering is exactly the same. Because sometimes you do find there people, and you know, they're doing their weathering and they go along and you get to like the insignia and they stop and then it carries on, and it's like, why? That would never work in real life unless they just physically painted it on. The panel line will go straight through. So if you've got a dark panel line going along, you don't want to stop at the decal then start again. You want it to go right the way through, as does anything. So it doesn't matter if you're post shading it with an airbrush or if you're coming in with oils or whatever you're doing, just go right the way over it. You know, so that's always been my thing. Just forget they're even there. Just going to go straight through it. It doesn't matter.
What about chipping? Because that's the Japanese thing, isn't it? It's obviously chipped through the red. Could you sand through it?
Well, if it's the decal, you can chip at it by poking at it with a sharp blade, you know, and physically chip the decal and distress the decal to physically break it up, which it would be in real life. Again, unless they've freshly repainted on the walkway lines and stuff like that, you were assuming they probably wouldn't. You know, that's why sometimes when I've had it, and let's face it, we've all been there, you ever had them, they break on you? You know, so I tend to leave it. It's like, so what? It wouldn't be like it. Yeah, on a modern aircraft, I appreciate they do touch them in and make sure they're all there. It's like stencil data. They tend to, you know, re-put them back in and all the rest of it. But, you know, the reality is World War II probably wasn't as stringent, perhaps, as modern aircraft are, shall we say, and things like that. So, I must admit, I saw an interesting video a couple of years ago now, and it was them painting or repainting an airliner and using the stenciling. So they're like plastic sticky stencils, and they stick them up to where it is, and they paint on a sponge and just sponge them on and then peel it off. And it's for all the, on a modern airliner this was, because it had been in repainted it, but they've got all the stencils and they literally peel them off the sheet, stick them on, and then they have the paint on a sponge and just sponge it all over, then undo it and go round. So it was quite interesting to see that one.
Yeah. Hello, Patricia Ann. I think, and yeah, modern jets. Yeah. I think modern jets are boring. They don't do a lot for me, I've got to say. Not when they're all just grey and grey.
That's why I quite like naval aircraft, because naval aircraft, you can do proper weathering on them and get away with it. You have to be careful, like we were saying about weathering and like the realities of would it be that dirty. It's the only time when you're doing naval aircraft, do what you like. Because some of them are proper hanging, and then some of them are mint. So anywhere in between is absolutely fine. But normal line jets don't get as dirty as they used to be. It's not like in the 60s and 70s when they had hundreds of them. Now when they've only got 12, they keep them a bit more clean.
Keith's come up with something back on Japanese aircraft, and Danny said the same thing. The red discs on Japanese aircraft were repainted after every flight, or at least very frequently, so they would not be as weathered as the rest of the paint set.
That'd be great, because the rest of the paints fell off, but as long as they're in pristine condition, we're not bothered. We have enough. Fair play.
Seems like it's a national pride thing, isn't it? But it just seemed like a bit of a waste of effort, considering the pressure the Japanese were under in World War II.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
And Simon says, stand up. Sorry, I meant to do it. His name's just been coming up, sorry. I just resist.
William says, in continuum of the paint surface finish question, if the job is beyond fixing, what would you simply strip cured paint with? So many different experiments out there, but what do you feel is best? If you've just got paint texture and it's rough, then I would say grab yourself a fine sander, literally a sponge, a nice warm sponge. Where's my warm one? I always keep one of my blue ones, which has been used to death, because it's proper soft and that. And again, I talk all the time about how to use a sander. It sounds stupid, but 99% of people don't know how to sand. Okay, so you just literally rest the sander on there and drag it back and forth. You don't push on it, and you will take off that top rough layer. And if you feel it, it'll be like silk. So you won't actually have to respray it. If you've just got texture in your paint, just lightly sand it. If you want, you can use like a weathering stick as well. Use one of these, which is very, very fine grit, and that will do it perfectly. And then just make sure you get the dust off, because it will cause dust, because you've taken that micro layer off the top, but it will be silky smooth, and that's the thing to it. And lots of time, we did it on this one as well. I just popped round with a sander and gave it a quick sand off absolutely everywhere, just before I went in with all the next phase, just to make sure you don't get the natural build up in there. But honestly, I wouldn't worry about stripping it back. If you've just got texture to your paint, sand it very lightly. So get yourself an old worn sanding sponge. It's hardly got any bite to it at all, and just literally you pop it on and lay it on there, and just that's all you do. Don't push down, just rub across, and then if you feel it, you'll go rough to being totally smooth and all things like that, and that's good. But in theory, it's good practice to do that anyway between paint coats as well, because otherwise, if you have got texture, say in your primer, you'll carry that through right the way through to your finished layer, because it's just going to be on top of each other. So if you give them a quick little rub down, and then just make sure you go over it with like a damp cloth to get the dust out, because again, dust can cause texture. I know a lot of people, they'll be sanding and filling their model and all the rest of it, and they don't clean it up. Then they wonder why they get texture and it's rough to touch in their paintwork. Well, it's all the dust absorbing the paint and going hard. So again, make sure you clean off your model. So yes.
Yes. Good advice.
Yes. But honestly, a lot of people, they're like, how do I strip my model back? And sometimes I think, why? Why do you want to go that far? Just give it a light sand and go over it again. It's a bit like if you've made like a wrong colour or anything else like that, you'll probably make more damage getting the paint all off than you would be a quick light sand over and give it another coat, because that way you'll still retain all the surface detail and all that tiny little details that might get lost, because if you don't get it all off, you're stuck, because you're going to be layering on top of it. So in some ways, just stepping on the layers is a lot better with it. But again, happy little accidents. Sometimes if you've got it and it's a little bit wrong, just go with it. Make it a weathered area, hide it under some weathering, things like that. Happy little accidents.
Yeah, because some of these, like, you soak a model in IPA, you can take the filler out and even debond some.
Yeah, that's right, absolutely. Yeah. And also the thing is, if you're going to start stripping it off, that's a hell of a lot of work, whereas I would literally be a case of, just assume that it went wrong under here, for whatever reason, say I'd like put my finger in it, we had a fingerprint, and I've taken it off, we're down to primer, I wouldn't think about stripping the wing off. Literally, I'd probably go, well, look, there's a panel line there, there's one there, I'm going to tape off those areas, and I'm just going to lightly sand in this area just to get rid of it, and it's all nice and smooth, and then I'll blow it in. And then, yes, you're going to have a different area and it's going to be a different colour. So then you can think to yourself, happy little accident, I'm going to pretend it's had a touch in. Let's face it, aircraft get them all the time, especially modern aircraft. Okay, or you think that's okay, so we got that there, and then we're just going to go back now with the weather in. So we'll give it a wash, and then we'll give it a little bit of oils, and we'll blend it in and do it that way. And in that way, you've done it, taken care of it in an afternoon, versus if you'd stripped it, you're going to be days into it because you've got to get it all clean and then sand it again and all the bits and pieces. So it's probably, as I say, my commission days as well, but you're doing the quickest fix. But also, don't make work for yourself. You know, it's a hobby, enjoy it. You know, the bit where you're like having to go through it all, and you know, sometimes the easiest way is definitely the most effective. It's easy to go over the top with it. But I know people who literally do, they go, oh, it's the wrong colour, so I've stripped it back. And I often think, why don't you just give it another coat?
Yeah, go over the top.
Just go over the top. You know, I had somebody the other day said to me, I've stripped it off and repainted it and had to prime it again. I'm thinking, why didn't you just give it a coat of different colour over the top of it? And that would have been fine, you know. But it's like making work when you don't really have to. But it may be because I'm a lazy modeler.
No,
it's a massive job stripping, and then you have you can't get the paint out of the panel lines.
No, yeah.
You end up with like, yeah, it's just a mess, and it's nasty chemicals and.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always, like I always say, the thing is with a hobby, you just want to make it fun and enjoyable. If it's fun and enjoyable for you, stripping off paint and cleaning up and all things go with it, then you're in heaven. But for me, I just try and do it the quickest and simplest, most straightforward way. You know, I don't like to make work for myself when I don't have to, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Roger's put, he wants to start building armour. What should he start with? Tamiya.
Yeah.
Like Tamiya armour kit, you'll be in your element.
Yes.
Because you're nice and easy, well detailed, decent price. Can't go wrong.
And then after that, tack 'em.
What about their 48 Tamiya stuff? I love the 48 scale stuff they do.
Yeah.
Just across some aircraft. And then 48 tanks are brilliant. All of them are good. There's not a duff one in that range.
No, they're all good. Just going back to your painting thing, just going back to my old job, if we painted a car or somebody painted a car and it was the wrong shade, we didn't strip it down to bare metal and start again. We just keep the paint up and painted over it with the right shade. So it does seem to be this stripping models a bit overkill.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had this with Andy. I know he's not on, but you know, with his Buckeye. He's on about stripping that, and then just like, well, just rub it down and paint over it. It's just creating work for yourself for no reason to me.
Absolutely, and you can make, as I say, I'm not being funny, you can make a lot of problems for yourself stripping it down. But you know, it's not just a case of stripping it down. As you're saying, if your filler starts to go awry, or your clear parts are on, for instance, and you know, you got the worry of those and all these things, and it's all stress, isn't that? Really, you don't need. Just keep it as simple as possible. You know.
Yeah.
One for you, Matt. Best method for painting brass uniform buttons on 1/35 scale figures. I don't find the metallic paints that realistic.
No. Look up non-metallic metal. There's loads of tutorials on it on YouTube. They can explain it a lot better than I can, but basically it's a case of like yellows and buffs, but it's how they shade it to make it look metal. I've never tried it, to be honest. I'm not that skilled, but it does look more effective than I know what he means, because the pigment, you're onto that pigment thing of a bit like the pigment's too strong for the scale. It's too grainy and stuff. So yeah, look up that. That'd be my advice. Yeah. Or if you do use it, just tone it down with a wash. Well, if you do use the metal paints, just tone it down with the wash, because it is too bright. So there is ways of killing it back. But again, tons and tons of tutorial on YouTube. Just have a scoot around there.
Right, one for Nathan this time, look, because we're on a roll with these. This is I Fly Indoors, says, I'm building 1/72 Hasegawa OA4M. Any tips on painting the inside of the intakes? Seems too small to airbrush.
Yeah.
How did you do your Skyhawk?
To be honest, I sprayed that whole area white, inside and out, and then just masked it up. And you can spray it without... Did that have the engine at the back of it? I can't remember now. But if it's got the front of the fan blade on it, I can't remember if it has at the front. I just left that part off and just sprayed everything white. I didn't fill all the seams 100% properly. And then just masked it off, put a bit of sponge down there just to...
Yeah, to be honest with you, well, I wanted Nathan to say it first, but I cheat. So on smaller stuff, all I'll do is I'll make up white paint. But if you use Tamiya, like the lacquers, and spray it neat, okay, so it's thick, and you just blast it down there and then forget about it, it will self-level itself out. Because it's thick, it will cover everything. And then literally all I do is, and that's what I did to the Buccaneer, which is now in the cabinet, but I literally just get a bit of sponge, poke it down here and forget about it for the rest of the build. Because on 72nd scale stuff, because it is so small, you won't see it. And I that's why I queried, you know, because I'm not sure you can even see the fan blade, or even if that kit has one.
I can't remember if it has one that puts on the...
I know the 48 scale one does, but I don't know about the 72nd. I've never got a 72nd Skyhawk.
Can't remember, to be honest, but the intakes are teeny tiny, aren't they?
They will be if you want that.
Yeah, I just remember just spraying the area white, and then I've got the picture. There is like a demarcation line just on the inside of the intake, so I masked that up and then just whacked a load of sponge down there.
Yeah.
Then the white was quite handy for painting the red around the red.
Patrick's put with the brush.
Yeah, I mean it's tiny because the hole is like 1/2 centimetre at the biggest dimension. I think it's. I mean, on the Tornado 48 scale one, I haven't even bothered painting the intakes.
Yeah, nor have I down in this one because you can't see them. You physically can't see. So all I did was literally just, when we came in with a lighter colour, shoved it down there and blew it in. Because there's nothing to see, you know. So, but yeah, so keep it simple again. That's the secret. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Michael says, thank you, got my order today, loving the shows, keep up the good work. Hi guys, can you what compressor would you recommend? Thanks for the show.
Sparmax.
Sparmax. I would say the TC610H is what Matt's got. I've got the 620 here, which is exactly the same, but it's got twin pistons instead of single. But honestly, it's another 40 quid, whatever it is, that you don't need to spend. Because we did a test. There's reviews on there. Have a look at, just go to the Flory Models thing and type in their Sparmax. You'll come up with the reviews for them. And I did a side-by-side test of the 620 with the 610. And funnily enough, the 610 recharges an empty tank quicker than the 620. Even though the 620 is twin piston, it's at a slower RPM. So it's running longer, if that makes sense. So... but yes, and they've both got 1.5 litre tanks, so there's no difference, or 3 litre tanks, whatever they are in there. No, it must be 3 litre tanks. So you know, from that point of view, it's all you need for airbrushing. It's only if you're running multiple airbrushes off of one compressor you need a bit more space, and that's why I've got another tank down there for that. But generally, I think the Sparmax one, I don't know how much they are these days. They're around about just under 200 quid, I think. But like Matt's got my old one, to be honest with you. Matt doesn't have a problem with it. It's still running fine.
Fantastic.
And that's over 10 years old now.
Yes, fantastic.
Yeah.
No problem at all. Really good one.
Yeah. The only thing, I've got a weird thing with mine at the moment. I've got, it's under here. And the funny thing with mine is that if I turn the air pressure down, like I'll do it now so we can prove the thing, right? I'm turning the air pressure down now to around about 12 psi on the regulator, right? And it will start leaking. So every 20 minutes it'll fire up because it's now leaking air, but I can't find where the leak's coming from, and in a minute it will drop down and go, but if I turn it up to maximum, which is what, I don't know, 40 odd, 50 odd psi, I can't remember what it is now. Yeah, it must be 50 odd psi, because obviously I'm running on a Mac valve anyway, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't leak any air. So it's obviously the pressure self-seals itself, but if it's lower pressure it's leaking, but high pressure it's fine. But I don't know, it's just a little thing it's doing at the moment.
I've got one. Kent's put, is the Pocher models a taboo subject? Not really.
Is what?
Pocher, P-O-C-H-E-R. You know, the big museum grade car kits, really.
Yeah, which I built in my commission days. Yeah.
No, they're not taboo, are they? They're just.
No. Well, I don't know why they would be. Why would they be
taboo? Yeah, I'm a bit confused why he's put it, to be honest. But no, they're fantastic, aren't they? They are museum quality kits. They're not cheap, but that's what you're into. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Unless you know something we don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So.
Kent's asking where you get them.
Oh, I don't know. Are they still in business?
I don't know if they're still in business. When I did commission days back in the 90s, they were, I say I did quite a few of them.
Thingy was selling them at one point. Airfix.
Yeah.
I don't know now. They might have gone out, they might have dropped them, but I'm pretty sure it was Airfix selling them, wasn't it? It was a good few years ago.
Nobody's got them anywhere.
No.
So
that would
kind of a clue then, isn't it?
Yeah, second-hand market then, and you'll be paying for them. And just to quickly answer Matthew's question, have I tried shading metallics with inks such as chestnut? Yeah, I have got scale 75 inks, and I've got Vallejo inks as well, and they're brilliant actually. I do like inks, they're good.
That's right, we've got about 8 million questions in here. I've just scrolled and it's just loaded them all through. Can't even find where we were. Like literally, we are. Yeah.
Brian's just put Pocher are out of business at present. So and Richard put about the Battle of Britain.
Right.
Have you got a planned build for it?
No.
No. Fair enough.
Well, it's the 80th anniversary this year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, depending on what's happening with Telford, me and Nathan are going to do something, and I think Andy for the Luftwaffe side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because we been invited on the big display, is it?
Yeah, Neil Robinson, who runs the Battle of Britain SIG, asked me, he sent me an email, right about Christmas time, saying,
yeah, there you go.
The Luftwaffe.
There you are. Told you.
Well, yeah. Apparently the Luftwaffe had something to do with the Battle of Britain, he said in this email, so we'd like you to join in. So you're going to see me build a 109.
You're going to see Andy dressed as Ermengoring.
That's why he's not being on, he's getting measured up for his white suit.
Or is he going to have a nice blue pastel one?
Tell you what, it would be so politically incorrect, but it'd be so funny.
Well, yeah. That's why I'm building. We talked about this kit yesterday, weren't we? Von Wearer. That one's being built. So you're going to see me, Matt, and Andy do a number of builds later on in the year for this big display. Just crossing fingers and toes now that it actually happens.
If we ask Phil nicely, he might build an ICM 111.
I might do.
Yeah, I've asked him at least 3 times, and he's got the decals for it.
And he's told you to.
Yeah, I'll get round. He's not said no. He's not said yeah. I mean, we did the Battle of Britain SIG, didn't we?
We did. Yeah.
All the SIGs set for the year now. So.
Yeah.
Tim says, have you ever printed your own decals? If so, what's your opinion? The usual thing is printing white. I've got white decal paper behind me where you can print, and obviously it's white, but then you have to cut it all out. So you've got 2 options. Unless you've got, what's it called, an Alps printer that prints white, you're going to have a problem. That's always going to be the sticky wicket, so to speak. Is that if you've got a decal with no white in it, then it's not a problem. You can print your own, and I've had pretty good success with it, to be honest, over the years. But if you need white, or if it's some type of picture, shall we say, like tail art or nose art, that can get a bit gritty. But generally, I'm okay. The only thing I would highly recommend is when you're cutting the paper, because obviously it's just a giant sheet of film, if you like, that's what it is, always allow a good mil or 2 mil at least around the edge, because if you get up to the edge, it will bleed. So when you come over to put it on, it will physically bleed onto the model, and your ink goes absolutely everywhere when you seal it in. But like Nathan's got theirs, decal film, you coat it with that, and that's what I used to have it for. You just brush it over the top. I've never airbrushed it, because I used to just dip it in a bottle. I had like a 1-inch brush and just popped it over it, and away you went, let it dry, and then stick them on. But I must admit, I've always had no real problems with it at all. They look pretty good. I wouldn't want to do anything too small, to be honest. Most of the stuff I've used it on is sort of 48th. But, you know, getting small, it depends obviously on the quality of your printer as well. So, you know, have you ever tried doing your own decals?
No.
Occasionally, but I've never really been forced. If I haven't quite got the right markings, I'll just build something close, to be honest.
And I don't like decaling, so why the hell would I want to print my own off?
I think I'm surprised there's not companies out there that don't do it for you as like a one-off.
There's a couple of companies around who will physically do it for you, because I've had people come to me before and ask me to do it for them, and it's not something I want to get involved with, because getting the scaling, because obviously it's all done on your printer, and then you have to print it off, and the amount of test runs you do on paper before you commit to doing it on the real stuff, just to make sure you've got it all right, it's not as straightforward as everyone thinks. You probably are if you know what you're doing with Photoshop and things, but for me trying to do it, it wasn't that easy. But there's a couple of companies who do it, but I think again, you know, they do charge for the time, and people don't like paying for time. They like paying for materials, but the bit where they don't factor in is that some bod spent a couple of hours trying to work it all out for you. You know, people don't want to pay that time, and that's always the problem. But there was a couple of companies around. If you look around, I think they may be still going. But the other option, of course, is you can multi-layer as well. If it's just a couple of colours, do it with stencils and, you know, put them in. I've done that as well. But yes, it's one of those ones where you need a good printer. The various sheets of paper out there that do it. To be honest, I got one that got sent to me the other day, which is by a company called Creative Paper Company. And it says, "Hi Phil, new technology, universal water slide decal paper." And they've sent me a sheet, and this is in white. I'd like to introduce our new water cycle called Universal. Please find a free sample. I haven't used it, I haven't tried it, but it's all on here. It does it for mugs and various things. 5 sheets, you can have 500 sheets of this stuff. I have no idea what it's like. Blue and black coloured sheets. But everything else to it. Don't know, perhaps we'll have a go one day, have a play with it, see what it's like. But yeah, there is various ones out there, but that's by a company called Creative Paper Company. They're based in the UK. They're all company registered and VAT registered, so have a look for them as well. Have a pop onto their thing and see what they say about it all. So where are we? They're on about oven cleaner now for stripping. It says, "I'm with Phil on the Luftwaffe colours. I'm sure that half the starved slave work labour in the bombed out factories didn't care if the RLM 83 was a shade out."
That's one way of putting it, isn't it?
That's it. So anyway, this is the trouble with my compressor. Now if I turn the pressure up, so I'm just whipping the regulator right up to max, which is about just under 60 psi. It should be fine. Oh no, my drawer's going to keep opening for the rest of the show. Let me put my peg in.
Nathan, here's one for you. Have you seen it from George?
Yeah, the canopy for the 48 scale Buccaneer has a deck cord on it, and the South African I'm taking from that the South African Air Force didn't have them. How do you remove it? It's finely raised, but it's on the inside. Because I tried to paint the deck cord a few times and gave up, if I'm honest. So I was trying to run like get capillary paint to carry it around it. It just meant absolutely dinner. Because it was raised, you could. Oh god! I mean, its problem is if you sand it out and it goes wrong. But I'd be tempted to sand it, but it's on the inside, so it would be a massive pain to do it. Because then you'd have to polish it out, and it'd be horrendous. Aero Club, I'm sure at one time did a vac form one, but they've been out of business for a significant number of years.
Yeah, you'll think it. So what do they use instead of a deck cord then?
Don't know.
hard hat with a spike on the top.
Spiky helmet.
A spiky helmet.
Got some left over from World War One.
Yeah, that's it.
I just think you're going to... It's because it's on the inside. It's going to be an absolute swine to polish it out, isn't it?
Yeah. But that's the only option, is to sand it out and polish the inside back up, isn't it? If you need to get rid of it. But is it going to leave like the outline of it though? You know, like the mould.
It might do, yeah.
Like a mould print. I don't know what I'm getting at, but yeah.
I'm thinking what are these things called? I can't remember. They're like polishing paper.
Oh, like micro mesh stuff.
I wonder if you could do that put round your finger but I think my gut feeling is the risk of it going wrong is so high.
Yeah.
I'd be tempted to live with.
Because it's not like you can get a replacement either.
That's the thing that's making me very nervous. If you split the canopy,
yeah,
you're going to be tarping it, aren't you?
The only other way is, what about actually casting another one?
That's not a bad idea.
You know,
plunge mould it.
Or cast it in clear resin.
Yeah.
You know,
use the front bit, and it is quite a simple canopy shape, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an odd one, that, isn't it? Really. Like I say, if it was on the top, it wouldn't be a problem, I don't think. But again, I do just wonder if it is just going to leave sort of a scar of the actual deck cord in the clear, you know.
Yeah, I'm not going to. I mean, I left mine as it was. I just think the risk of it is so high. I mean, if you pull the canopy back, it sits over the spine. It's not massive. Maybe just wait until somebody bites the bullet and releases a new 48 scale Buccaneer.
Good luck.
Yeah, watch this space forever. Stuart says, question on the old Monogram Rebel F104 Voodoo, 101 Voodoo, sorry. Need the air defense grade. Good kit, that is. Shame it's raised panel lines. The rest of it's great. What colour in Mr. Colour or Tamiya Paints? Well, Tamiya Paints won't do it. Mr. Colour may.
Attacker do Voodoo Grey.
I know, I was going to say, Attacker do it. It's air defense grey, wasn't it, or whatever they called it. Hold on.
Voodoo Grey was used on Starfighters, weirdly, I think, as well.
Just trying to see off the top of my head.
An FS number for it.
Yeah, and it's a funny. Do you know the FS number, Matt, of the Attacker one?
I don't. I ain't got a thing here either, to be honest.
Have you got the Federal Standard number? I'll tell you.
I know the numbers down near the bottom of the paint rack, so it's 220 something, I think. It might be more than that.
Right, no. Got an FS number. It's 16515.
16.
Is that going to be the same as 36515?
Yeah. 515 is the bit you want. No, it doesn't look like guns do it.
No, I don't think guns do one.
So no. So Attacker will be your route. Extra acrylics do it.
Do they?
Yeah. Yeah, because it's the same that's on there. Was it the F102? It's the same colour. And that's what I used for that, was the extra acrylics. God help me.
It's used on the underside of natural metal starfighters on the wings. On the underside.
There you go. Yeah.
That's it's on the Attacker early Luftwaffe set randomly.
Yeah, so Attacker do it, and I know extra acrylics do it as well.
C201.
C201 is it?
And then
Yeah, that's it.
And then MRP 363.
There we go.
It's out there.
Mild of information. Question: what do you think to the new tooled SR71 from 148 scale in Revel will be compared to the Gas Patch, don't know their name, sorry for that. Wait, what? It won't be Gas Patch.
Gas Patch.
Gas Patch are a good company.
Gas Patch are a good company.
Yeah, but they don't make SR71s though.
Not to the best of my knowledge.
No,
Wouldn't it the Testers, 48 scale?
yes.
Yeah, Testers one. Trust me, it'd be a light years better than that thing, because I've built it. It's raised panel lines and it's horrible. It's very modular and section. Yeah, I've built a couple of them. They're not nice. Lots of people saying here on my colour rant. We just got to that part.
Yeah.
Lots of things. So I'm just going to skip forward on this, guys, because there's lots of stuff. Do you guys purposely drill holes through your external walls to pass your extractor tube through? I did. I've put a hole. That's what's in that cupboard. All my vents go up into there, and then they go out through the wall.
Can you see my garden, mate?
Yes.
Yeah,
There
you
you go.
get in the corner.
Straight out the back of the shed, and it's got a flap thing on it. What you get in extractor flap? I can't think what they're called, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in a garage, so I just tease the garage door open a bit and shove it underneath if I'm doing a really long paint job.
Hey,
So people think your washing stinks because it looks like a tumble dryer outlet, but comes out with lacquers through it.
Various shades of green smoke.
Yeah, that's right. It's always Luftwaffe colours going out into the atmosphere. Can you thin X20A? Can you use X20A to thin Hataka? Not Hataka lacquers, but you can their acrylics, because A is an acrylic.
Yeah.
So
that'll make a sticky, horrible mess.
yes, if you try and use that with the lacquers, it will turn to glue.
And talking of Attacker acrylics, I painted the inside of this yesterday.
Oh,
A
your
little
truck. Yeah.
And I did use Vallejo. I didn't actually use the airbrush cleaner. I used Vallejo thinner and a little drop of flow improver. Absolutely fantastic. Really good. Really good. No tip dry, no fogging. So yeah, I'm going to paint the rest of it in it. And when I do, if I get round to it, I'll do it on one afternoon in here with the camera running.
Yeah.
Just to show you how to do, how it works and stuff. Because it is actually, I was impressed. It's good stuff. Tried rock hard as well.
Very good.
Yep.
Guys, a kit stash question. How many kits is too much? I've done an inventory and I've got around about 1,300 plus.
That might be too much.
That's probably too much because you're not going to build that many, are you?
How many have you got in the shop, Matt? It's less than 1,300, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah. I would have thought, yeah. Wow, 1,300 kits. Jeez.
That's like your own private model shop, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. That
Well,
could be a problem. You might need to talk to somebody, a professional, about that.
I've got a couple of hundred-ish, and I'm letting Matt over in the next year just cull it. It's just tying up too much cash, and it wasn't cash that's the problem, it's space.
I think the problem is as well. I mean, are you a collector or are you a builder or are you both? Because it's two.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're a modeler, then that's different to being a collector. If you're a collector, that could be not a lot.
Yeah.
You know? There's probably a lot of people out there with a lot more for a collector's point of view.
Yeah.
And I know collectors who've turned it into a business. So they started off being a model collector. A guy we know quite well has turned it now into a successful model company dealing in second-hand kits and stuff. So,
Well, that's it, isn't it?
so it depends which way round you are, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it because you get pleasure from buying kits. You'll never build that many in a lifetime, in 3 lifetimes, would you?
No.
Actually, you're throwing them together at a crazy rate, but
Have you seen Stu's what he's just put up?
it's a retirement fund or a death fund for the wife.
No, but have you gone up a couple?
Got over 5,000. Wow. My wife would kill me.
Where'd you put them?
Where'd you put them all? You must have a massive house.
I ran out of space. That was my principal problem. Is I literally ran out of space to put them. But I mean, me and Matt especially, we swap kits between us, don't we? And
Yeah.
Tornado Sig, there's like the life of the kit, they get passed from modeler to modeler to modeler, and eventually someone built it.
Yeah, it does. No, he does actually. I'm not going to think Andy, because he does let go of kits now and again. It hurts him to do it.
It does really hurt him, doesn't it?
It does, but he does. He does do it. So good on him. He's like the backup stash, isn't it?
Yes, he is. He's our backup shop.
He is, yeah.
I think the thing that started us off is back in the day when Airfix were going out of business. People started. That was where people stash building, because kits would be released and you'd never see them again. Airfix were going out of business, so people hoovered up Airfix kits like crazy, didn't they? I don't know. I mean, I think the thing with me is, I'm looking at this pile of kits and thinking, could I do something else with the money, like going on holiday?
Yeah.
That's what's bugging me about it.
I think my downfall when it got a bit out of hand was eBay. I got addicted to eBay.
Yeah.
Buying kits off eBay. Just as soon as that stopped, I got back control. But you just go on eBay. Boredom, really, I think, as well. It was a boredom for you. Go on eBay, have a flick through, have a bid, and before you know it, you've got parcels turning up left, right, and centre with stuff you've won. So yeah, it can get a bit out of hand in that way.
Thing is, though, years ago you used to be able to get bargains on eBay. That was the trouble.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
Now it's not at all.
No.
You get the odd one that might crop up occasionally, but really it's to find out of production kits and
I think Andy's got a spreadsheet, hasn't he? And he's converted his stash into monetary value, and he says that really, really quietly, so his wife can't hear it.
Yeah.
That's the bit where, I don't know. I mean, there's nothing wrong with buying a kit if you enjoy it, and having it in the garage if that's what you enjoy. But
exactly, yeah. If you're a collector or whatever.
But if you ask the question, it must be niggling you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a thought.
Look, there's some figures being branded up on our chat.
Yeah.
Krista's got a lot. Rob's doing all right with his.
Yeah. Andy's got 6 now. That's a sensible stash.
Yeah. But it'll grow.
It will.
Yeah.
And again, I think it depends if you're just coming back in the hobby, or it's a time frame thing as well, I think.
I think my favourite response is Krista. He's got between 500 and 1,000. He's lost count, and that's a pretty big margin of error, isn't it?
Yeah.
Between 500 and 1,000.
That's very vague.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deliberately keeping it vague is
Yeah.
the safest way. But again, also it depends on your kits, isn't it? Are we just talking really old 70s Airfix kits and stuff like that? Are you talking the top tier Zuccamoris of this world and all things like that, isn't it? You could go from a stash that's worth a couple of £100 to a stash that's worth, tens of thousands, very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Stu's saying his stash was made over the last 10 years. So
exactly.
maybe do like a 1 in, 2 out strategy. So you only buy a new kit when you've sold 2, and that'll wear it away over time, won't it?
No,
Yeah.
and again, I think it's sometimes like I did. I had a huge stash before we had the store, and really you look at it thinking, not going to ever build that, never going to build that. If you're being honest with yourself, isn't it? I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
If you're being honest with yourself, you're never going to build any of it. But it's quite nice to be a collector. Like I've spoken to Matt about, I have a plan for later years of a collection I'd like to do, and there's various models I'd like to build to make into collections as well and stuff like that. So that's what my stash is sort of built around. But generally, a lot of the trouble is that with me and Matt, we're buying in kits because they're new releases. You guys want them as well. Sometimes we'll keep them here because it'll be quite nice to do as one day, or other times they'll go back to the store, after it's been reviewed and things, and it's very quickly can build up and get out of control. So that's the thing. I think sometimes you have to be a little bit honest with yourself. Are you ever going to build it? It's a bit like when you see people and they've got 10 of the same kit. Are they ever going to build 10?
Roger's just put up a quick point, and it's a valid point. I've said try 148th armour, but everything in the PM store's 135th. But you could do a special order, couldn't you?
Yeah, to be honest, it's probably something we were thinking. I've been thinking about it a while. Of actually starting to get a few of the 48th Tamiya kits in stock. Again, funds have been going elsewhere for other things that we needed. So, but you know.
Sorry, they're all talking about their kits in here as well.
Yeah, it's just kicked off a massive conversation.
Yeah, Bryn's puts, but what about aftermarket decal sheets and all the other stuff you collect as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got drawers full of decals.
See, the decal sheet thing to me is I can see it. I can see the point because obviously you want something different from the kit, but then you can be stuck with like however other schemes on that decal that you probably will never use because you're just taking one off it. I can see when Phil were doing commissions that were different for the F-18s and stuff because you're building a load, so you'll probably use a full sheet, yeah, or lots of full sheets of whatever you're doing. But unless you're like just going to build F-18s or F-14s or Phantoms or whatever you're into, you could have a lot of spare decals, shall we say. And I have got loads of spare decals, even kit decals from God knows when, that I keep in a plastic tub with old instruction sheets. I don't know why, it's just a habit that I do keep them just in case it's one of them. But again, you can have a lot of leftovers in that respect, especially with decal sheets. I suppose, I mean, with Flory Models, I mean, you could just probably put them up on the site somewhere and say, does anybody need anybody after? Or people put up, has anybody got this set or that set or whatever? You never know, do you? Like I say, with people's extended sort of stashes and aftermarket, I bet somebody somewhere's got, you know, the ones you want.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's what we always say. If you're after a particular scheme and all the rest of it, it's always well worth chucking up a little post in the wanted section, just see if someone's got it. Yeah. You know, even if you just cover the postage, the postage costs and all the rest of it with that person, because it saves you having to buy an entire, say, 5 aircraft sheet with it on just because you want the one off of it.
Yeah. It's like Andy just put up like a swap shop.
Well, that's what we do, isn't it?
It's not, is it? Because, you know, everybody's probably got them that they're never going to use. Some Buccaneer decals that we've got left. Are we really going to use them?
No,
exactly.
I might have one on it.
But then, to be honest, as I say, probably because I'm at the forefront here, but as I say, all of the Sabre decals have now gone because people have had various ones off of that because members have said, because you're not using, can I have? My Buccaneer original decal sheet has gone because obviously the ones that were on there, I never used it. And what was the other one? What was the other thing I did recently? Anyway, they've all gone as well. So it's quite funny how they've just shot off, you know, because the guy said, are you be building? And as I say, I'd rather them get used because I still have got that massive folder down there full of them that I've never gone back in there in months to pull anything out that I've actually had to use. So yes.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea, a decal swap bank, is it? Or the special, just put requests out, someone will have a bit. Trim it. And the post, you know, as long as you cover the 70p postage, or if it's international.
At
least they're easy to stick in a lot easier to post than kits, aren't they?
Exactly. That's what I was just thinking. You know, it's if it helps each other out, then why not? I don't think it's a bad thing, is it? So.
I mean, if you join one of the IPMS SIGs, especially on the Tornado one, I can't speak for all of them. There's definitely a lot of decal swapping going on. Snipping bits off and sending them across the country.
It makes sense. I think I've done it when I first joined Flory Models. I sent some A20 decals to a guy who wanted the other set that I wasn't using. I think they were Kits World decals, which are nice ones. No problem with it. I was never going to build another one, and I definitely wasn't going to do it in that scheme. So.
And Stu's on our chat made a good point. The IPMS have a decal bank.
Yeah.
They do, don't they? Or do they still do it?
Yeah, you just have to email someone saying, I'm after this. I think they try and encourage you to send your own surplus in. Quid pro quo sort of deal with it.
Yeah.
But it's run by a volunteer on the IPMS, so it's not lightning fast, same day dispatch. But he'll have a rummage through and
So is that you've got to be an IPMS member?
Oh, yes, 100%. Yeah.
You see, not everybody's IPMS, are they? Or perhaps wants to be. So, yeah, good idea though.
Mm-hmm. So the wanted section on our forum's already set up to do that, isn't it? You can put
that's right. You can chuck your stuff down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, well, that's a thing you want. Is Edard and their decal sheets? Blimey, the amount of aircraft you can do on one decal sheet.
GB Model Zone. If you do want, I do have the bombs. I don't have the rocket pods. They have gone. That's because somebody wanted the rocket pods from the Buccaneer. But if you want the bombs, shoot me a message. You can have them.
Rocket pods. Do you want rocket pods?
Yeah. No, somebody's had the rocket pods.
No.
You've got the rocket pods left.
Yeah, he's got the rocket pods.
He even built them.
But say I have got the bombs, but rocket pods have gone.
Yeah, well, mine here, so I'm not.
It's funny. The members are like vultures around my desk, I think, because they're like, "Oh, did you not use such and such? Can I have that one?" And it's like, Frankie, get back.
Never thought, to be honest. I've chucked my sprue away with all the bombs and stuff on. It's in the recycling. So yeah.
Yes, no, I must admit I did have a clear out here, but they are still here. I've still got the weapon sets and everything for this thing as well, so that's the thing. It'd be alright. Well, I don't think I'm arming this one with the weapons that came with it, because they're a bit,
yeah. You see Nigel's post. So the PE2 has got a Begamont, is it, decal set? It has 108 options. So what do? That's just changing the number, surely.
Yeah, perhaps it is. Yeah. Just got a
But blimey, 108. That's a
Chris is like me. He never throws parts out. I always cut the parts off.
Oh no.
And I have my little bags of bits.
No.
I used to be like that, to be honest. I used to be just the same, but now I'm like, I'd have tons of it everywhere. So I do be a little bit more ruthless these days. If it's got something which I think, do you know what, I might need it, like weapons and stuff, I'll keep them back. But just generally, like other versions, it's a bit like down in it. It's like, it seems a shame, but obviously I've got the other sprue for this because you get two fuselages for the different versions.
Buster 3. That's Buster the Third.
Buster the Third. So yeah, but we have got down in here because one's the M versions, one the ML version of the fuselage. So I've got the other one here, and it seems like what are you ever going to do with it apart from you could make Buster the Third.
I tell you what, that's not a bad shot, Nate. Why don't you just stick them together and just use it as a test bed?
A tester one.
Well, at least you're getting some use out of it. But to be honest, I just chuck stuff away, because otherwise you're getting into that mode of I might need it just in case, and it's
like two tails as well, you see, for the different versions of it. So you're like, what would you do with it though? Because you're never going to need another tail, are you, for a MiG-23?
You could put them two fuselages together and stick the tail on it.
Oh, don't you can't because the back of it's on this. It's three-piece fuselage. You have a top and two sides. So unfortunately, it's nothing to stick the tail to.
Always worth keeping weapons because I've got this MW1 from a Hobby Boss Tornado.
There you go. Yeah,
it's going to be used, but I mean, I take it to the nth degree. There's a bag of 48 scale Buccaneer bits, mainly weapons that might come in handy for a Gulf War Tornado. But,
so if anybody wants them, Nate, just PM Nate, he'll send them.
I've got designs on one of the bits, but
help him declutter.
Yes, he needs help. He's getting his little work areas getting smaller and smaller. He's being swamped.
I'll tell you what, he actually got off lightly because of this lockdown, because I was in full Wanta. It was you were obviously.
By the time Matt's finished with you, you'll be able to get your car back in the garage.
It will be like a Plague of Locusts.
Matt's actually, there is actually an area of my stash here, like a big boot full of it. That's the stash part 2, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
There's one bit round there that you didn't get to. Haha.
Yeah, run out of space.
Thanks for your car, yeah. There's enough for a transit van, really, isn't there?
Space and time, yeah. So,
That's it though. You keep all your parts and then make like a fantasy plane, like Ed's saying, or you could just make some completely random spaceship out of everything you've got left over.
It'd be like Industrial Light and Magic, couldn't you?
Yeah, that's it. It'd be like RLM.
Stick loads of bits on it, and then you've got a weird flying saucer.
That's what they did at Obico, innit? With the they have big over trees and stuff that, you know, like they've cleared out when they do the spare parts section and damaged stuff and all that, and they'll whack it in these massive crates, wasn't it, really? And there were two of them full of bits and bobs, kits, sprues and all that lot, and literally people were buying them to scratch build, and they got sent all over the place, I think. I don't know if they still do it anymore, but yeah, they do, you know, for like, say, Industrial Light and Magic and, I don't know, you know, stuff like that to build spaceships, I suppose. There was never a full kit there. I did have a rummage. It was like, if you get 3 sprues out of 4 or something, it'd be like so close. But I remember that one of them was the big Schnell boat. The carcass, the hull of one of them, and a few sprues off on the Italian Schnell boat. But yeah.
You know what? I might get an old 2-litre bottle of Coke and see if I can put all the bits on and make some crazy sort of space junk sort of thing.
It looked like something from Red Dwarf. But no, that's it. Well, I was going through them, wasn't it? Because I had all the early runs of all Corsairs and 30 seconds, but all of them had bits missing. We was trying to make a whole one, but couldn't do it whilst we were there. But yes, all good stuff. Well, all gone quiet. Any more questions? Any more?
Still jabbering, haven't we?
Any more?
Is there a discount code for the bench vent extractor on our forum?
Yes, there is. Yeah.
It's in, or is it in the store? Is it under the is it on the main site?
It's in the forum under the. If you go into the first part of the forum, I can't remember where it is now. I can't show it on that screen because everyone will see it.
Yeah, we're not going to shout it out now, are we?
Hold on, let me just have a quick look where it is. I think it's in important information, or is it in announcements? Yeah, if you go into important information, it's under exclusive members offers. It's in there with the others. So yeah.
Chris is asking, is the Ultimate Sabre the best kit of the Sabre? From Krista.
It depends if you want that particular marking options. Because to be honest, the only thing you obviously you get a bit of photo etch with it and all stuff like that. You get the seat, which is quite nice. But apart from that, it's no different from a normal Sabre. So if you like one of the options in the kit that comes with it, then yeah, get that version of it. Otherwise, you could probably get away with something like, because obviously it's colour photo etch set for the cockpit, photo etch set. There's a new seat in it. You could get all the parts separate. So you could do it that way if you wanted to. There's nothing structural on the aircraft that changes it with the Edard version. So them calling it the Ultimate just means they put the colour cockpit in it, resin seat, and that's it. But it's still the same. I can't remember. Was it resin wheels on that as well? Can't remember now. But yeah, you could do it straightforward with the normal Sabre. Get it. We were discussing this earlier. We were saying about the Academy one. Isn't that far off it for the Hasegawa kit? And the nice thing with the Academy one, you obviously get the engine. So you can split it in two, and then get the little dolly for it to have the tail on it as well, which is quite nice. So
Airfix are going to release a Canadair Sabre this year, aren't they? That's one we grabbed it. Maybe you can do a bit of digging next time it's on.
Yeah.
And I think Airfix, I bet the Airfix one's going to be lovely. But it's specific Sabres, isn't it, the Canadair one? Yeah, everyone's been chatting about vents. It keeps jumping. And David has just said Edard are quite good for bits because they do the overtrees. You can now get quite a lot of P51D options out of overtrees with Edard. I think David started build thread on our forum with that overtree kit. And it keeps jumping, so I can't. Everyone's saying that the wing not wings question is closed for now.
It is.
You're not going to
Yes.
talk about it because it could be fake news, and we don't throw petrol on the fire, do we?
Yeah, we're not getting involved. Move along. Nothing to see here.
Keep jumping, I can't stop. I can literally get 4 responses. I've only got like a.
You've got a tiny little pot.
I've got like a MacBook Air here. That's what I from the chat off. There's enough room on the screen for 4 people's responses every time someone posts.
I've got a question here. Is there any kits planned for? I think he means the Wildcat.
Yeah, for the Lynx helicopter. Yeah, it's the Wildcat. I haven't heard anybody's doing it at the moment. So
that's a good point, actually.
And
the Puma. Come on, Airfix, get some.
the thing is to say, the trouble with the Wildcat is, like we were saying the other day, we were talking about it, ultra modern aircraft are very difficult to get schematics and various drawings and things for. I know a lot of it's publicly available, but to get good data on them when they're brand new is a bit difficult. It's all right when they've been out a while; they tend to be a little bit more forgiving. But
Frank said they don't do the stuff that's in service that Airfix don't touch, so Airfix won't do it until it's retired, which is going to be decades probably. So he pretty much said it. So unless one of the other companies tackle it, I don't know. But yeah.
So I sent an email to British Aerospace for their research library about the prototype Tornado, because I know the rear cockpit was unique. It was different because it had instruments for monitoring. And they said because the Tornado was in service, even though it was nothing like the prototype, they wouldn't release drawing, pictures, anything. They just won't go near it if it's in service. But everyone's talking now about Canadair Sabre. We could do the Aussie ones, we could do the RAF ones. When Airfix release that, it's going to have it's going to be popular, I think.
Talking about doing your own decal sheets, how you're doing it. Trouble is, I don't actually have an inkjet printer anymore, and inkjet printers are the best ones for doing it. You get better clarity than the laserjet ones. But it's something we can look at doing. That's not a problem. We've got the paper. I've got loads of it. Everybody's here, I think, in one form or I've got the clear type, I've got the white type, I've got the blue type back in ones as well. So
I forgot Airfix are doing a 48 Sabre.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
I forgot all about it.
Kent's asked a good question, maybe to finish on. What's the benefit of working with poor quality models rather than high quality ones? That's what we've been doing, isn't it, this past week or two? Is it more fun?
I think you've got a better sense of satisfaction when you've completed it.
Yeah, again, like, I worked on like the Bear, which is an old, not a nice kit to work on, to be honest, but again, I think you have to set your expectations to a certain level. Like with the Bear, I knew I was going to re-rivet the entire thing. We knew we were probably going to have to rescribe it, so I didn't care about how much filler was used on it, because the engine nacelles just don't fit. And it's got various gaps all over it. So I think if you go into building an older kit knowing you're going to have to fill sand, rescribe, fill that and start again, rivet. As long as you've got that in your head that actually it's crap and it's going to take a lot of work to do it, you're fine. If you're thinking, it'll be great and I'll knock it out and it'll be done in a couple of weeks, then you probably don't want to do those types of kits, because you just need to set your expectation that it's going to be a little bit of a long haul and it's going to be a messy job. And as long as you know that and you've got eyes wide open, I think you're okay. But sometimes you get people and they're like, it just didn't go together and it's crap and it's unbuildable, and it's like, it's because it's old. That's the whole point. You're gonna have to put some skills into it, and I think that's the trouble with a lot of modelers, is sometimes they'll get a kit and it's rubbish and it's unbuildable and they'll slag it off to the art's content, probably because they just haven't got either the knowledge. There we go, the Pembroke.
There's a prime example of not an easy kit to put together.
Yes.
Yeah. At all.
But I'll tell you, no disrespect to Matt. Matt brought that down here and said, am I going to put the wings on? And was chewing over the idea of how to do it for how long?
I don't know. I
right.
don't know.
So I literally grabbed it from it and got some super glue and stuck them on.
Yeah.
And that was it. And he was like, what, that simple? And I'm like, why? What else are you going to do with it? It's, as long as it's all square, that will do.
I I was going to pin and do all that, and he just like literally just super glued them on. I was just like, all right, okay, fair enough.
And again, you know, and it was all the thing he was talking about pinning it and all that, and I was like, no, we're just going to super glue the wings on and get on with it. So that way, you know, it's not going to be nice, but then you sand, fill, take care of the seams, and away you go, and it's job done, and you can move on. But yeah, again, that's a classic example. You could spend weeks wondering how you're going to do it, and it's like, nah, let's just stuff them on. But actually, it's looking good now.
Yeah,
you need to finish that.
I am actually. It will get finished because it does live behind me on the bookshelf, and like I say, it wants deckling really, and then just finishing off. So I think it's going to be one of them I will tackle again, to be honest. But I find, you know, these sort of, oh my god, it's back form. These sort of kits, I was doing a bit, putting it to one side, because obviously this joined the fuselage of the wings here, the thickness. There was a lot of sanding, filling, rescribing. It just takes time, and I knew that, so I was doing other projects in between. It's one of them to have on the go, and go at it, just to make sure you don't, because nothing's actually got no sink marks or anything in this. There's no ghost seams. Yeah. Because it has taken that long, but it's worked.
But again, it's a classic example of like a kit where it doesn't look nice. Well, there you go. Nathan got something even worse there. So, you know, but again, that's a classic example. If you're going to go vac form route, you have to go in eyes wide open. Because if you're blinkered to it, it's just going to fall together. It's never going to work, is it? You're in for a world of pain. What is that anyway?
This is it. This is the entire kit. There's no canopy, no props, no undercarriage. It's a 30-second scale bolt and pull Defiant.
There you go.
Wow. Whose is it?
I don't know. It's literally just a sheet of...
No one's owned up to who did it.
I know it's yours.
I spent about £1 on it, and I've had this for 20 years. And at some point, I'm going to have a go at it. But it's basically, it's a template for scratch building, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, do you know what? Once that's in primer, I'm going to obviously spend months and months and months getting this up to the standard of a modern kit. And that's the fun, I think. With these old kits, I quite like the construction phase.
Yeah.
And pounds per hour, that is going to cost like fractions of a pence per hour.
Absolutely.
Joint, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it would be probably the kit I'd be most proud of when it's built.
Absolutely. And that is the thing. I think, you know, it sounds horrible, but I will say it, is that there's a lot of modelers out there who do YouTube videos and stuff like that, and they will slag a kit off and this, that, and the other. And I often think, just build it. Stop crapping on about how crap it is. Fix it. Get on with it, you know? But that's what you're doing, you know, that's what you want to do. And you'll have a far more sense of achievement of getting it done. And I know recently I've done a lot of brand new stuff, which is all very nice, but that's why I quite like doing some other things, shall we say, that are a little bit more tricky, you know, and like doing the Wessex as well. Loads of people said, no, it's crap and the front don't go on. I didn't actually have a problem with it. I can't fault that kit. It's limited run, but again, eyes wide open. I knew it wasn't going to be straightforward. I knew it had issues. So instead of moaning about it and just telling the world how crap it is, I'm just going to get on with it. We'll get the super glue out, we'll get filler in there, we'll get rescribing, re-riveting, and we'll get it fixed. And that's the whole point to it.
It's a mindset thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
You know,
I think that's the thing where just people are too easy to complain about things rather than trying to fix things, you know? And that's the whole point to it. Get in there, get them fixed, get the filler out. Like people seem to think filler's an ancient art, and it's like, no, it's part of modelling, you know? It's what you do.
I think if you only ever built good Tamiya kits, good Meng kits, you wouldn't have the same skill set as someone who would sit down and wrestle a classic Matchbox kit into submission. It's a different skill set and it's fun, but it isn't fun if you're only in the hobby for painting.
There you go. Hold on. Yeah, it's a classic example, right? So 101, the Chris D 101. It just said the Italeri 148 scale Super Hornet started it and nothing fits well. True, that's a classic example of a kit. What I'll do tomorrow is I will get a photo. Actually, I'll tell you what, I can do it now. Hold on, because I can show you one that I did when you put a little bit of work into it Okay, hold on, let's just go, I think it's in Air Gallery, isn't it? I think, hold on, probably do it quicker this way, because I know we're running out of time. Talk amongst yourselves a second.
The thing is as well, you know, some of these, like, I took on the Pembroke.
Yeah.
There's not another kit, well, actually there is another kit of it, but it's very hard to get. And again, somebody's put, well, like, about special hobby kits being tricky to put together and A model and all the other stuff. But they do subjects that aren't mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're interested in sort of that aircraft, or that's the only option you've got, really. So
yeah, I mean, we've been asked about the Sword 48 scale Lightnings, the 2-seat Lightnings.
Yeah,
they're horrible compared to the other ones, but like you said, if you want one, you have to.
So, right, okay, so here we go. So Hasegawa, Italeri. So that's the Italeri one, which I did a full job on it. So I dropped the flaps, dropped the slats on it and all the bits and pieces. We put a pizza box onto it, went through the things of it. So from a glance, it doesn't look that bad to the others. But actually, that's an awful kit. That's the Rebel, which again is an awful kit. And then you go through and it's like, that's the Italeri normal one as well. And again, it's pretty awful. And you can see it looks very similar in a lot of ways to the Revel 32nd new one, as in it's not right shape. But if you put a little bit of thing into it like we did on there, you can actually turn it round. And again, the clue on that one, you see it's got the Italeri weapons on it, which are awful as well. But again, we spent a little bit of time fiddling with the gear, just going round. Again, because we have various fit issues with it all over it. But if you spend a bit of time with it, you can go through it. And I don't know if I've got the other one, which has a different angle, which is a top-down shot of it. Yeah, there we go. So drop the flaps and everything else on it as well. So again, you can't do much with the tail because they're molded that way, so you can't do it like the others. But again, you know, and again, you look at, that's the Italeri very, very old A kit, which is crap as crap can be. It properly is awful. But again, when you mix them around, it's very difficult to see if you put a little bit of, you know, time into them. But yeah, that's the very old sort of done up. As I say, it's not right because it's the prototype. So it's got various shape issues. But if you play with it a little bit, you can actually nail them down and get them done. But again, it's one of those, it depends how much time you want to put into it. Sometimes it's easier just to get a nicer kit because it's less hassle, you know, going through. But as I say, when you look at the Hasegawa who were cutting edge at the time and then you compare them to everybody else's, like there, that's the old, which was a £7 kit. Yeah, you know, back in the day, and there it is again, you know, with the Italeri one versus obviously the Hasegawa version, which looks a lot nicer. So you can spot the difference with them, but yes, like shivers down the spine. There we go. Look, Splinter.
nice.
I'll tell you what I'd like to do, just for reminiscence sake. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. I'd like to do that one again.
That's cool.
Because that's a B.
Yeah.
Do the Test Pilot Squadron one in the white with the thingy on there. Yeah, I'd like to do that one again.
Yeah. What, using kinetic kit?
Yeah, I use the kinetic one and do it again because actually I think it'll look proper smart in the markings like that and all the rest of it. So,
yeah.
So yes.
Cool.
Be a nice one to do that, I must admit. So, very good. Are we pretty much there then?
We are.
Quick question. Roger's asked, have all the Easter eggs gone?
Yes, it ended last night, you see, at midnight. One egg was never found. It was never found. It's still there now. It won't link to anything. I've got to go and take it off. But it was back on the... Because again, when you asked a lot of people where was it, they couldn't tell you. But it was actually on the bear build. So it was, if we do through search, it should come up in here. If we just go, it was in bear part 4. There we go. So where are we? Bear. Oh God, hold on. It's on a proper thing now. Video build bear part 4. There it was. It was in here. We can prove it was here because it's still here. Although it won't link to it because the passcode's been done. But there it was. If you couldn't see it, it was there. Because obviously the other one And then obviously this is the one. But I'll take it off after the show because I wanted to prove it was still here. There it is. It's still there. Bless it. But it was in Bear Part 4. That's where that one was.
I think we'll let one more question over the line because it might affect someone's building this evening. David's asked, how long should you let Mr. Surfacer dry before rescribing the panel line? Overnight, really.
Yeah, I would honestly give it. It depends how thick it is. That's the trouble with Mr. Surfacer. If you're on about just if you used it as a primer, you can probably do it within an hour or two. If you've got it down proper thick, I would let it proper dry because otherwise it'll tear. It will literally rip because it does take a bit to go off down onto the surface. But if it's like not being funny, I think that's Mr. Surfacer on that picture right there where we were just about to rescribe it as well. Hold on, there. So this is when I was trying to blend in the engine nacelles that didn't fit. So we ended up just filling it and taking all the detail out, and then I rescribed all the detail back in on those engines. So, and that, I think that was Mr. Surfacer 500 we put on this just to get it to go in. So again, I think I was a left overnight job and then come in the next day.
He's just said it was put on really thick, so definitely.
I would leave it. Yeah, if you can, 12 hours, 24 to make sure, and you'll be good to go. It'll be dry then. But the thing is, if it's soft underneath, it might tear instead of proper scribing into it and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So yes, very good.
More questions, maybe carry over to tomorrow.
Yes.
I think we're doing married life on the chat at the moment.
Yes. Well, tomorrow I'm going to paint this. So that'll be the thing. We're going to paint him and get him sorted because hopefully my decals will be down this week, where they're at.
Yes, I'll say I'm going to post them tomorrow. I'm going to get all sorted and get it in post. So I'm doing a post run tomorrow.
Post run. So weapons and that due for tomorrow on this one. So we get the weapons and bits and pieces done on there as well. So I'll be going through the motions on that one, and then we get that one painted up as well as we make our way through. And then I can start on the 2001 Discovery XD1.
Yeah.
That'll take about a year just to do all the pods.
Your pit-up probe should be there tomorrow as well.
Cool, look at that. We'll be coming to a finish on this one. Be nice to see this one mounted up properly and all the rest of it. We get the pilot in there and everything with him at his jaunty angle, waving with his visor down, mask on. No face. So yes, very good. Lovely to be with you all again this afternoon. Absolute pleasure as always. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much to the Flory Models team and obviously all the Florites as well for letting us do all of this. You guys are stars as always, the one with this one. You can go off and obviously see part 10 of that one. Part 4, now we're a bit further on. Part 10 of that one, obviously all talking about bending acrylic and all stuff like that as we spoke about before, so that is up available to watch now and everything like that to make our way through. So that's it from us. Happy modelling, take care, goodbye everybody, wave bye guys. Bye. Bye.